free speech. Say disrespectful things that are sacred. You can't talk about God that way. You can't talk about our prophets that way. Can you say this in America? Yeah. So there's free speech in America.
In your ideal,
we have to obey the law of the land.
In your ideal world where you can't talk about God and certain things that's sacred in a certain way, could you talk about black people in a certain way?
Black people, skin is not sacred. God created us, and we are God's creation. But what's sacred?
You're being obtuse now. You know I don't literally mean the color of the skin, but we're talking about the plight of people, right? So, for example, whether we're talking about
the plight, which one?
Well,
skin or plight?
Well, they're interconnected, right? Because people
you just said exactly what I disagree with.
People who are usually heavily melanated, usually when you go down their lineage, is connected to some type of oppression. Say again?
Yeah, like me. Talk about saying I come from my dad's from Haiti.
I hate to actually put this down, Sneago. I think the reason why you think the way you are is because you look in the mirror and you don't instantly identify with a group. You're a member of multiple groups, and you've probably been treated as never one particular thing. So it's easy for you.
I don't see my brothers based off of somebody who looks like me. But I have brothers in Islam. Muslims are having the same belief system. But seeing someone blindly as your ally and as
ethnicity
and have the same skin complexion, I think is wrong. Second,
wait, hold on. Say that again. We can't just jump past it. Say that one more time.
The unexpected.
People are not your brothers and not your allies blindly just because you look alike. It's what you believe. That's what's more.
Not true.
It's about
not
works.
True.
It's
not true.
Okay, so then what about black murderers? Are there?
Hold on. I'll give you an example. And
is King Von? Is King Von your brother?
I'll give you an example, and you try to counter my example. I'm not like King Von. I'm not a gangster. But listen, let me tell you this. I've always said the reason why I have no desire to go to Europe and any other country, like, on that side of the world. I was born in Jamaica. It's 90% black. This is the first country I've ever lived in where you walk around and we're the minority. I see what it does to the mentality of people that look like us. I see how people that look like me get treated. I have to understand and embody the same type of, fear or, understanding of when you're in a country that has this history. Remember, I was born in Jamaica, but I have to understand that when people see me, they look at me just like they look at Kevin Hart, look at Bobby Shmurda, and everybody else black. You have to understand it, okay? So that's the difference between just saying that, oh, no, not because you have to understand the hurt behind everything. You do.
Right. You said something very interesting right before this. You said skin and plight go hand in hand.
I said they're interconnected. Interconnected.
Yeah, that's the problem right there. I want everyone to, you said exactly.
Are you about to do one of those shit thing again? You about to do one of those like Gandhi, like, oh no, everybody should let go of the pain? Come on, brother.
No. But you are defining blackness based off of pain. And it's so much more. Also, our brothers and people who are like
current living conditions of blacks and most people who are minorities is defined by pain. What do you mean? Like again.
Okay, well again, so I like that. Sure, it's defined by pain.
And don't hit me with this bootstrap theory because I also believe in that. But if you are gonna be just dense and act like, okay, Jim Crow and all these things haven't affected what.
That's a perpetual victim consciousness. Defining yourself based off of trauma, off of oppression, it gives away power. You are living in a victim mentality. And that doesn't give you power.
All right.
I want people to be empowered. I want people to move forward. I want the best.
All right. Okay. And when you make stupid arguments like that, I just throw it back
to. How is that a stupid argument?
I'm gonna explain to you. Anytime you say stupid shit like that, I love to throw it over to what I call your people, because I can tell you care about them. So basically, let me ask you a question. So basically, Palestinians should not be defined by this genocide, then, correct?
Do you know how many?
Sir, it's a yes or no. Sir, yes or no. You say that black people should not be defined by their hurt, pain they went through. So these Palestinians should not be defined at any point by the genocide they're experiencing. It should be a one-to-one.
No,
right?
No, Palestinian people have a rich history, rich culture. To define them based off of genocide is terrible. I don't want to see that. I don't want that to be the history.
So say that. I want you to say, because you just said to black people.
I just did.
No. Say Palestinians, you guys should not be trying to be defined by what you're currently experiencing. Say that. That's one out of your mouth, of course.
Yeah, that's a great point. I love it. I'll say it 10 more times. People should not define themselves based off of atrocity. People are so much more than their pain. People are so much better than that.
So wait. So you do believe that the conditions that Palestinians have lived in now and in the future it will not be defined based on the genocide they're experiencing now. I just want to get a yes on this. Go ahead.
They should not define themselves based off of pain. It's so much more. Having this victim thing, it's so. I feel when I meet a Palestinian and they say that their families are immediately like, I think, oh, that's so bad. Oh, free Palestine. Imagine being.
Oh, so basically, when they talk to you, like, man, let that victim shit go, man. Like, yo, we cool it all.
I can see. Okay, let me make a few points. I can speak to them. And I can see, man. I can tell that they're tired of being defined by this. Everyone going up. Imagine saying, "Hey, I'm Palestinian." Oh, I'm so sorry. What do you mean I'm sorry? My people are great. My people are good. My people are not defined by this. Do you think people, they want to hear this all day? Oh my God, it's so horrible. That's the worst way to live. Second, you are ignoring the fact that there are so many Christian Palestinians. There are so many churches over there that are getting bombed. You said earlier that you're Christian. Are you a Christian first or are you black first?
I care about what's in my vicinity first, and I've never been there. I care about. There's some senseless deaths that happened the other week in Jamaica. I care about that way more than what's going on in Palestine. I've never been there. I don't know why
I answered all your questions. You can't answer.
No, I'm answering that. Listen, whatever you're going to say with that, on the things I care about, black people is way up there. Palestinians is way down here.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. Because you said your people.
Yeah.
You're saying my people are the blacks. My people are Jamaican. My people look like me. I'm saying my people are ones that believe in the same thing. Around the world, the most populated Muslim country, you keep thinking that's an Arab religion, most populated Muslim country is Indonesia. They look like me. Across the world, you have Bosnia, white people, 95% white. These are my brothers and my sisters.
I hear you.
Around the world. My people are ones that believe in the same things, that want to make it to heaven, that want the best for the world. You're saying you're defined by your skin color, not your faith. No. You're saying you're Christian, but it's not even at the top of the totem pole.
Yeah, because
you're black first. Okay. Worship, and if this is what you worship, I say that's wrong. Yep. You should worship the Creator, not yourself.
Brother,
your skin.
You just did a bunch of non sequiturs, and I see why. Have you won a debate, Sneeko? We gotta figure out. Like this is.
Now you're running. No.
I'm gonna answer you directly. I never said what I worship. You said what do I identify as more, right?
You said you're Christian. Christian's your religion. Your religion is what you worship.
Yeah, hold on. But it's not about, do I worship skin color versus religion? Because they're not mutually exclusive, right?
I'm saying that because your number one priority is by extension what you worship. You said your number one priority is black.
No. Yeah, Sneeko, I'm going to make listen, I got to talk to your chat because I don't know if they've been dealing with this for years. I'm gonna make a very simple.
It's a simple question.
I'm gonna make a simple analogy. Right? If you had lived in Flint, Michigan, back when they had a water crisis, at top of your priority, water is probably gonna be over everything else and issues you care for. It is within proximity the thing that matters the most to you because it has the most direct effect.
Yeah. And
hold on, brother. Hold on. You said a bunch of nonsense. Hold on. And I'm saying that while I do identify as Christian, okay, and I am black, right? In my vicinity, where I'm at, I'm not hearing Trump saying, "Oh, God is telling us to go bomb this." They're doing what a country does.
They are saying that. They are saying that. That is the rhetoric.
Brother. Okay. Well, I'm telling you that it's not looking like a King James version of the Bible war, okay? And most decisions aren't. When I'm looking at things like that, what it does affect me. So I'm trying to say Christianity, that's not what's affected me, my family, and my immediate people. The thing that's, brother, you're being obtuse. What I'm saying is that if you live in a place where water isn't clean, you care about water the most. What I'm saying that.
What about the white people? What
about the white people? Could I make my point? I'm saying that where I live, there's not much that is, this is a religious blah blah blah. It's more of, hey, listen. I see persecution not in terms of religion here. I see persecution more in terms of race. So, of course, that is more important to me.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. That is what's in your vicinity if you focus and tell people to get martyred based off of stupid things like a rage baiter. If you are only seeing the
I was trying to get out of bad apple and kicked them off the streets.
Yeah, well, if you are only seeing
one of my proudest moments.
Portion, if you're only seeing
somebody got to put that on my Wikipedia page. I tricked Chud the Builder off the streets 24 hours. That's right.
You got somebody martyred over a word. If you are only seeing the small picture and not seeing what's bigger, then yes, it might seem like, oh, my people this. You're ignoring one, that there are white people in Flint, Michigan. It's not specifically a black issue. And two, are you conceding that you're black first and not Christian first?
Sneeko.
I answered all your questions.
How are you remixing my Flint point? The Flint point had nothing to do with race. The Flint point, the Flint point was.
I thought it was.
No, the Flint point is depending on where you are. Like, for example, the reason why I said what I said about Palestine, I do care about people getting killed. But I don't know no damn Palestine, nor no Israel. I ain't been there, and I don't want to go there. So, you know what I got to deal with?
It doesn't matter if you know that.
Yeah.
Humanity is.
Oh, no. But we all rank things of importance to us, right? If you live in Chicago, and there's 500 people getting killed, you think you're gonna be like, no, forget the 500 people here getting killed. What's going on in Palestine? No, you're gonna care about where you're at. What I'm saying is that I'm in America. Before I care, listen, I care about American issues before I get to some Palestine. That shit is like another world away, man. Let them niggas do what they gotta do.
And this is the problem of only seeing the curated media image, because freeing
there's genocides happening in Africa that I care about more than Palestine. I ain't gonna lie.
You just said, sure, what's happening in Sudan is horrible, but they're only looking at it from a very narrow perspective and ignoring the greater issue. If you care about America, then Palestine being free, Israeli occupation and their stronghold on
brother, you're trying to do politics.
That changes.
Okay, so
no, I'm not. But you brought it up. But don't try to keep keep running away from this.
I'll let you go.
You are saying that you don't care about Palestine. I care about America. But freeing Palestine also frees America, because the genocide happens in Palestine because our tax dollars go there. We fund it. We pay for it. The IDF gets their money from us.
Okay.
So yes, I only see this. So this is only what I care about. Be smarter than that. Be bigger than that. Don't let this stupid little narrow view of the media define what you believe and what you think.
Brother, well, I won't say I speak for the community that I come from. We're not going to call it race, but community that would be like me. If they had the option of sending $30 billion over to Israel, or even to Palestine, either one of them niggas, or we could put it in our inner cities here to help people that look like us, I think they'll pick that option. We don't give two fucks about
reparations. Yeah, reparations.
No, not necessarily reparations. What I'm saying is that we invested in other countries we ain't living. I think most people would just want to invest here. I ain't gonna lie to you.
And my point is, our military budget is like 70% of our budget goes to fund these wars. Israel takes most of the money. Freeing Palestine is freeing America. It is allocating more money to help out people domestically. It is prioritizing the gang violence and prioritizing the hoods here. If we take the money away from these foreign wars that you don't care about because you don't see it, then it can help people right here see the bigger picture. And second, you keep running from this one. Are you black first or are you Christian first, academics?
Yo, Sneeko, it's like I've
answered all your questions.
No. I've answered the question. Give an analogy to help you understand the question and you're so confused. I literally say, in the things and the matters that concern me, where I live, I'm 100% black first. 100%. Yes. When issues come down, if it's going to affect people that look like me, and it's going to affect me personally, I'm me first. You know, they're supposed to be America first. I'm me first.
So you're not really against racism. You're worshiping your skin color. You are embodying the same things that the racist white supremacists believe.
Hold on.
They think that their skin color comes before their faith.
Which part of saying that I value me and my community is a racist thing? How do you get to that conclusion, sir?
Because you prioritize it over your faith.
What's the definition of racism? What's the definition of racism?
Discrimination of a race.
How am I discriminating by saying I prioritize things that has to do with me?
You care more about your own skin color than humanity. You care more about your skin color than God.
Brother, I let me just look at the comments. Man, this guy's like,
you can't answer, so you're open to the chat.
No.
If your number one priority is your skin color,
no.
part of worship.
What you put
your energy towards, what you put your energy towards is what you worship.
I feel like I'm talking to a child because I have to like give you these analogies that you can understand very basic things. No. I'm serious. It's like saying, imagine I say I'm a narcissist, right? Which means I'm self-obsessed. That doesn't mean I hate everybody else. That's a stupid point you're trying to say. You're saying by me caring about things to do with me and people like me means I hate other people. Sneeko, what's wrong with you, brother?
I said it's your number one priority, is it not? You conceded that.
None of that said I'm anti white people, Asian people, Indian. None of that. It says I prioritize things for me that could help me and help people like me. What's the problem?
This week in GTA,
Right.
we have a new
People
event
like
we
you
get to
and
go
the
over for the
priority
entire
that should be
week.
first.
Leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more stuff like this. Let's go. Alright, starting off with the new content. We have one bit of new content. It's a new livery. That's the one that's going to be on the top of your screen there, I believe. This is from GTA series videos, so shout out to them. This livery is called the Water-like livery for the FMJ Mark V. Now here we've got this mini event that's going to be going for 2 weeks. So you've got 2 weeks to do this. And it's going to give you a chance to get some rare rock stuff. Really cool. Like top 5 in the Army membership tuning and the blue and yellow tire smoke. All of that will be half price. For your normal discounts that will only be going for the 1 week, we have a bunch. So you'll have 40% off all South Pipistrello down from 3 million, Ferrari GT in 29k, the Rat Bike down from 48k to 28k, the 190Z SZ down from, and finally the Novak down from 600 to 425. For your bonus money this week, we have double money in RP on tow truck missions, as well as the salvage yard safe income, the salvage yard robberies as well. Whether you sell them or salvage them, you're gonna get double money this.
Saw Mr. Clinton up in his office talking with Mad Dog earlier. I gotta say, Mr. Clinton looked kind of starstruck. Fuck. Let's hurry down.
Simeon, Simeandi, Mr. Miniati.
It shouldn't be Christianity. It shouldn't be your skin color.
What?
That's what your worship is. That's where your priority is.
We're not even
That's
talking about worship, but we see you're trying to like make it like
Do you realize this? What you're saying right now is exactly why racism exists.
Hey.
why Israel is
Yo,
what it
yo,
is, because
Sneeko,
they're
Sneeko.
racially.
I think you live in. I think you think you live in a theocracy,
You're not
brother. You do not live in a theocracy. You're saying, well, it should be God. Like, listen, no one's here to disrespect God, and everybody knows people.
I'm not saying
Most people
disrespect
have
God.
some
I'm trying
level
to- I'm
of
trying to
spirituality
explain-
or respect for religion. But you're trying to now impose that to say, oh, everybody should just be worshiping God. Okay, that's a given. We're talking about when it comes to social issues. When it comes to economic issues, what do people care about? Listen, if I live in New Jersey.
Now you're mischaracterizing.
Yeah, I live in New Jersey, right? I live in a particular county. I want when the state is giving out funds for them to give all the funding or most of it to my community because I live there. It's just self-survival, brother. It's survival of the fittest. It's Darwinism.
Okay, you're kind of circling. Do you realize that you saying that you put your race above your faith, that's exactly why racism exists. Israel is a Jewish supremacist state. They think that others are subhuman to goyim. That's why they justify what they do. White supremacists exist because they prioritize their skin color above their faith. What happens then is they see the priority based on people that look like them rather than what's right. What's right comes from God. It doesn't come from your skin color. You don't worship whiteness. You should do what's right, and you should worship God. They have the same ideology that you just stated. White supremacists,
Wait.
Jewish supremacists, any
What
supremacist
part of what I
comes
said made it sound like I worship skin color? If I say that,
It's your number one priority. You said it's your number one priority.
that doesn't mean I worship it.
It is. Part of worship is where you focus the majority of your energy. If you focus the majority of your energy to a celebrity, you worship him. You worship, that's the number one.
Okay, so you worship Israel then, because you talk about it every day.
How do I talk about it? Do I think that
You
this is the
talk about it every day. Remember, you say words that meaning you could repurpose things. All of this, like, great shit that you think you could
Bad
do.
argument. Bad
What?
argument. I talk about Israel because they commit.
So who do you worship then? Because you talk about that shit every day. It seems like you prioritize.
Because I talk about it because I worship God, and Allah says to stand with the oppressed. If they're oppressing people,
Well, hold on.
then my voice. Let me finish my point. My voice is best used speaking about the oppression that's happening, not supporting them and propping them up. Speaking against what's wrong and trying to promote what's right. That's why I speak about Israel so much, because they're committing negative acts.
Well, why don't you speak about oppression that's been happening in Haiti? Why don't you speak about,
I do. I made videos about it. I went there and I.
Brother, you've been talking about, brother, you're like an Israeli commentator. Like an Israeli.
Do you remember how many? There were so many white supremacists upset at me because I defended Haiti. When Haiti was called a shithole by Trump, I said Haiti's a beautiful country. You don't know about the people. You don't know about the oppression. You don't know about the French banks. You don't know what happened after.
You talked about it one time, but you know a bunch of people have been talking about Israel like it's going out of style.
I guess you didn't see that, but they all went at my neck. Matt Walsh started calling me a communist. They called me the hard R. Matt Walsh said I'm an invader. I'm an immigrant. We don't like Haiti. It's a shithole. I said you don't know anything about Haiti. You don't know why Haiti is this way. Just because you didn't see it doesn't mean I don't speak about it.
Okay, so in terms of whose plight you prioritize, because you just asked me what I prioritize. I told you, right? Based on my situation where I'm at, things that could affect me, I would prioritize racial and issues like that over religious issues, because there isn't a religious war that's being fought in my vicinity.
We're in one.
Okay.
We're in a religious war right now. U.S. Iran is a religious war.
I'm speaking from my perspective, sir. Where I am at.
You don't know. I mean, because
okay. Also, I've never been to Iran. Okay, I've never been there, buddy.
You're right.
All right, and
You've been in America. We're in a war.
and they're not dropping bombs over here. Maybe if they drop the bomb, maybe I don't care. I don't care right now. Okay, so let's put that to the side. Let me ask you, in terms of genocides that's going on in the world, which genocide happening in any crevice of the world do you care about the most? Because I don't think you give everything the same fair commentary.
Okay, I talk about the genocide in Sudan.
No. I didn't ask about what you talked about. What I'm saying is that what do you prioritize? Because you have to prioritize with how much you give energy to and how much you talk about. Which ones do you prioritize?
Which genocide do I prioritize?
In lending your platform to give awareness about. Do you spend
the most is definitely the most ongoing, well-documented genocide happening in front of our eyes right now is happening in Palestine.
Why not the genocides happening in Africa? Why not kind of lend a little bit more light to that? That we would love to hear what's going on there.
Because this has the most importance. This is the most important.
Oh, so there's more. There's most important.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that.
All right,
what's
brother.
the most important? You want to know why? Let me explain. Because let's think bigger. America's the world's superpower. We control the world. The world uses our currency. The petrodollar is used around the world. If you don't follow our system, we bomb you. Regime change. The U.S. is funding this genocide. They're using our propaganda to justify it. This is the biggest global issue,
I like
clearly. This is the worst atrocity. This is happening on a major scale. And if I can lend my platform to fight against the biggest propaganda machine, I will. I try to get my priorities in check the best way I can.
Okay, and I think I got something to trump you on that, all pun intended. So just like how you could rank in what you're given the, not necessarily most important, but the I guess it would be most important, genocide that deserves attention to Palestine over stuff that's happening in Africa. Well, I ain't been to both of them. I live in America. I want to look at social issues going on here, places that I know I could, I might drive, hit two corners, end up in Philly. They got hella switches. I want to figure out what's going on here before I care about a foreign land I've never been to. I don't care if it's sacred, holy, or not.
I understand your perspective.
And
if you want to be small-minded, like that, then what is the greatest issue facing black people in America today?
I think that's an ongoing thing. You know, I'm not into black victimhood. However, you know, going back to the origin of this conversation is a Chud the Builder thing. I think we've been healing in racial relationships. From time to time, there's things that come up that really set it off where we're now arguing. For example, I forgot the lady's name, God rest her soul, when the cop shot her in her house after he accused her of about to throw hot water on him after she was saying, I rebuke you. That was something about, hey, listen, we're two different races. We don't understand each other. It kind of caused some racial tension. I forgot the young lady who died when the cop executed a search warrant in the middle of the night, shot all into the house, and killed someone. Like, these are things where I've seen clear division where if you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Black Lives Matter, but I do remember that certain social turmoil, right, where people are looting, rioting, burning stuff up, and all of that is actually caused by these either bad actors that don't get punished, agitators, and when I see even the symptom of the illness, I try to look for the cure or apply the cure or the antidote. Let's not wait until people are rioting in the streets. Chud the Builder was going to have Nashville, actually the whole state of Tennessee on fire. By the grace of God, and thanks to DJ Academics and the chat niggas, we tricked that fuck nigga off the streets. And right now,
you gotta give him. Do you even know his name? The guy that got shot.
brother.
You don't know his name.
Brother.
Well, you're taking credit. You were
Brother.
telling the guy to get martyred.
Brother.
What's his name?
Brother.
It wasn't you. It was that guy.
No. By the grace.
What's his name?
Listen,
What's
by
his
the
name, man?
I don't know his name. By the grace of God. Yo, my dude.
So you.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on.
This guy is
That
in the
guy's a-
hospital
hold on.
because
That guy's
of something
a-
you
hold
were
on.
encouraging.
Hold on. That guy's a victim. I'm not necessarily call him a hero.
And
But
you
what I'm
don't even
saying,
know
hold
his
on.
name.
I'm not.
So he's not a hero? Are you a hero?
I'm not necessarily calling him a hero. What I'm actually saying is that the agitator has been neutralized. And in
By
any way,
a
hold on.
martyr.
No.
A martyr's a hero.
No,
You said
sir.
a martyr
sir,
is a hero,
Sir,
right?
sir. He's been neutralized by the law because he was never following the law. He was someone who thought he was bigger than the program. He had racist thoughts that thinking he could treat black people and execute them on a public street in front of a courthouse. And the law has told him now, hey,
Okay.
white or black, you're still gonna get your ass thrown in jail like a low-level thug. So we sit here and we're not gonna mourn the fact that this guy threw his life away. Of course, we're sad that there's a victim in this case. We would have hoped that
A
he
martyr.
would.
You said a martyr.
Hold on. Well, he's gonna be a martyr just because, unfortunately, he was the victim. However, the main point is this: by hook or by crook, by the law or by the gun, by the knife or by anything, that nigga had to go. And the best place for him to be right now is to self-reflect while he's sitting in a 4x4 cell and realizing that
All right.
he can't antagonize the 4 fucking walls he's looking at all fucking
You kind
day.
of proved my point. I'm saying we shouldn't give our attention away to paid agitators and clear division, and this is a waste of time. You were saying that somebody should martyr themselves and go and get this guy, and you don't even know his name. You know Chud the Builder's name. And I'm
Yes.
saying you shouldn't give your energy away to clear racists, to clear people that are spreading hate. That it's not good.
The agitators have to be removed. The agitators have to be removed. Listen, I get what
A
you're trying to
martyr
say.
is a hero, and you don't even know his name.
Yo, brother,
You see how
brother.
we waste, and this is
Hold on.
why I was saying people shouldn't give attention to this.
No, you're
You're
trying
saying
to make
somebody
this
should martyr
thing.
themselves. You're saying that he's a hero, and you don't even
Yo.
know who he is.
Yo,
That's
I never
proof
said-
that
I never
you
said he
can't
was
give
a
your life
hero.
away for
I
a
never said he was a
stupid
hero.
cause.
I never said it was he.
You said a martyr is a hero.
Not necessarily.
Yes.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
A martyr. Listen,
What's a
someone,
martyr to you?
someone that could be seen as a martyr for any cause. He's just the person who's seen as possibly made a sacrifice for that cause. Not necessarily he is the hero for the cause.
Yeah.
I know you're
Yeah,
googling
somebody-
it right now.
Somebody dying for a specific. I don't know what you think.
He's not dead.
Ooh-wee.
Hey, listen, you're trying to deflect to the victim. Here's
No,
the
I'm not.
point. Here's the point we're trying to
You
say.
said- you know, I'm
Hold on. All right,
thinking
Sneeko. All right,
definition.
Sneeko.
You said martyr.
All right,
You
Sneeko.
said martyr.
Victim
If you don't
aside.
think heroes are martyrs, then shut.
You're trying to earn these micro points. You're too.
It's not a
Yo,
micro point.
this is a headline right here.
Yeah.
This is a headline right here. Sneeko hits a 3-pointer, but he's still down 22. It's okay, but
I'm not
listen.
trying to win. I'm not trying to win against.
Sneeko, let me ask you a question.
It's not about the
Victim
internet, it's about engagement.
victim aside, I think you now agree with me that based on this guy's behavior chipping out, being in the free world is just not, it probably wasn't the best place for him to be. And gladfully, he's not dead. So he's in a great place. He gets to sit in jail. Maybe I was on Pump Fund early. I was trying to tune in. I was trying to buy the nigga coin. I couldn't find a nigga coin. He wasn't going live no more. But
Kind of going in circles. The reason we got to
Okay.
this point is
But you
asked
agree, though.
what is the biggest? I asked you, what's the biggest play? Yeah, I said it from the jump that I don't think you should be doing these streams. You shouldn't be on the streams doing this. I asked you, what is the biggest play facing black people today? You said Chud the Builder and police violence. Is that correct?
you're trying to have me speak for the entire black race.
No, I'm asking because you said it's your number one priority.
No.
You said the plight of.
Okay. So you could ask me
is
about
my
me.
mess.
I recuse myself from actually having the weight of speaking for all black people. Actually, let me be honest. You know why?
I didn't ask that.
Hold on.
I'm asking you the same
Hold on.
question you just asked me. You said
Strong,
I want to
strong.
talk about the most. I said when
No.
the atrocities happened, the genocide of Palestine. So I'm asking you,
And that's
what
about
is
you.
the greatest plight of black people, and you said the greatest plight of black people right now is Chud the Builder saying the N-word and police violence. Is that correct?
No. So you're asking my opinion, all right? And if you ask my opinion, I'd probably go to lack of economic opportunities, and I'd probably also go to still systemic oppression, right?
Okay.
In my hold on.
What are the examples of systemic oppression and lack of economic? Because we have, what do we have?
Well, I feel like we have decades of that being seen where, again, one of the things that I realized, I've always told people I expressed some regret in how, not that I did, how I did the war in Chirac, because the way I blamed these young kids that grew up in a particular environment for some of their actions, right? Some of these guys, some of these kids who didn't even really have the mental capacity. We're talking about PTSD. Imagine what they're going through. They've seen their uncle, their brother, their cousin all get killed by gun violence, and when they actually retaliate, the person that's sitting up just making fun of them, they grew up in this environment. It's basically Section 8 housing. So I'm answering your question.
That's why I couldn't swing low. You called me a Muslim grifter. If I wanted to swing low, I would bring up the war in Chirac, but I'm not going to. It seems like you regret that.
No, hold on. Well, there is no swinging low for them, right? Because it's a grown-ass man. This is a grown-ass man.
I'm just comparing.
So that's kind of how I look at it. I feel like while I might be fortunate, and yes, to a certain extent, I don't believe in like victimhood, like, oh no, woe is me, because I'm someone who came from another country, third world country, and I have to do good for myself. I'm not saying that everybody has that opportunity, but I will say that for us to ignore or use me as an example and say, well, Act made it, he came from another country, he lived in the countryside there, and he's like rich now, why can't y'all do it? That would be completely ignorant to not factor in the not only decades, the centuries of oppression that has gone into
economic, right? And what's holding them back? You're saying what's holding black people back? Well, me too. Economic, even though there's DEI, even though there's legislation in schools where it's easier for people from the inner cities to get in, and the other one you said
on average, a two-parent, like I forgot the actual stat. On average, when it comes to household earnings by black families compared to any other race, even Hispanics and definitely Asians and Indians, black people aren't on the same level or even like competing.
Okay,
so there's a disparity. There's a disparity that
is the economy. Economic opportunity is the number one plight.
Are you trying to like go politics with me? I'm giving you two things.
No,
now
I'm
you want to
just
talk all
trying
type of shit.
I want to see what you believe in. What's your worldview, Ak? Okay, now I figured out that you're black first, Christian second. Next, I'm trying to figure out what's your priority. You scrutinized me for mine. I detailed exactly why I believe and why I say what I say. So I'm asking you the same thing you just asked me.
Go ahead.
You said the biggest plight to black people is socioeconomic opportunities. And you're saying the reason, your example is single-parent households not making the same. Is that correct? I got to know what you believe in and have a conversation.
Well, yeah, the disparities between what households make, the communities that most of those families are concentrated in. Yes, it would make sense for a lot of the other topics we could talk about. Like, for example, why is it more crime? Why is it this? Well, if you look at these other factors, it's going to be a multifaceted thing. Now, here's the thing. I might not live in those conditions, but I commune with people who might be in those conditions, right? And that all does matter. Say again?
Right. So, what I think the greatest issue is, so this is why this has happened, why crime is rampant, why you have these socioeconomic disparities, is not because of systemic racism. That's all gone now. It doesn't exist the same way, and believing this is just victim mentality. The real reason is hip-hop culture, is what we define as black culture right now. Black culture can be defined, a lot of times, especially what's being promoted in hip-hop, is gang violence, is baby mama culture. Sexy Red becomes extremely popular. She's talking about popping perks and Plan Bs and sleeping around and cheating with her baby daddy. Gang violence is the number one thing promoted in hip-hop. Hip-hop is seen as the culture. We just saw the Drake-Kendrick beef. Oh, you can't talk about the culture. Well, how do you define the culture? Hip-hop is synonymous with black culture, and is what hip-hop promoting good? Absolutely not. It's negative. It's deteriorating.
How old are you, Sneaky?
27.
Okay. And the only reason I ask is because you are repeating points that the 22-year-old version of me stopped in my train of thought there, right? Like, the 22-year-old version, go back on YouTube, you will see that. Everything I'm saying is documented. Where there would be a little bit of blaming hip-hop or, oh, it's because of gangs. But the older you get and the more knowledge you have, as you love to peel the layers back on what's going on overseas, you should have definitely be peeling the layers back by what's going on around you. Why are there gangs? Why was hip-hop the thing to come out of these neighborhoods? If you stop at these things, well, I mean, that's a part of it. But if you're looking at okay, violence or whatever, or hip hop. All right, let's just say hip hop and these bad examples are coming out of these places because of hip hop. Why did hip hop come out of these places? Right? If you kind of peel the layers back, you kind of start seeing a lot more stuff that kind of contribute to it. I'm gonna use another analogy. The analogy is kind of like, one of my favorite foods, oxtail. You know how that came about? Shit, fucking slave masters. That was the part of the fucking cow they rejected, and now it's the thing that everybody made good. So
let's figure it out.
So black people, historically, when they have been put in positions of oppression, they've actually turned fucking, they've turned shit to diamond. And obviously, over time, usually you hope it gets better, but all these things were born.
You get some incredible artists from the past century where it came from slavery, like the songs about pain and these drums. It is a derivative from slavery, but now it's just really something. This is deflecting blame.
No, but
it's all about
you can't ignore it.
Infiltration.
You can't ignore this. If you go back to the history of music, where people who are interested in music, they couldn't get in some of these jazz halls to go maybe indulge in that type of music, right? Or rock and roll. There was actually a really, the easiest way for them to get into music was having a boombox at the park. All of these things do matter.
Now, this stuff, people don't listen to jazz anymore. It's done.
Okay, my brother.
I don't think
But again,
my same point.
But
Live in the past.
But again, that's what I'm saying. You have a mentality of a 22-year-old because you don't understand historical context.
No.
The older you get,
I just said I do. I just told you that it was.
You have to understand history. It's like me saying.
I just said I do. Did I say anything wrong? I know exactly how this started. I know where hip hop came from. I'm talking about today, though. What is being promoted today?
Yeah, but everything comes from what history and things add on or get subtracted. But there's always a root there. It's like saying why did the United States of America become its own thing? Yeah, remember the Boston Tea Party? All of that matters. Hey, no tax. Everything matters for us to get here. Everything.
And you can't just like. And I know the history. So you're saying you're trying to make me sound infantile, but I'm talking about right now. This is the problem with the victim consciousness.
Because how long does it take to change history? Let me ask you a question. How long do you think it takes to change any type of
change history? Well, I mean, change history, like
or behavior that is either traditional. I'll speak your language because it's kind of interesting. You motherfuckers live over the United States and y'all are up Israel and Iran's fucking dick.
What do you mean? I was born here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Y'all are over here, but all y'all seem to give a fuck about is Israel, Palestine, and motherfucking Iran.
No. You know what's funny? You keep deflecting. The same people that support Israel also support the music industry.
Yep.
Lucien Grange is also a Zionist. The people in charge, I saw you make the comparison. You said Jay-Z's like Israel. All these hip-hop executives support the same country that you think is so far away.
Here's the point. Here's the point.
Dual allegiance.
Here's the point. I'm trying to make an analogy to you using the United States, but it's very clear to me. I'd probably have to use like an Iran analogy for you to motherfucking like understand the point I'm making. So I'll use one. We've seen when Iran has gone from whether it's the Shah or their supreme leader, and we've seen power changes within the history of Iran, right? How long did it take, acknowledging history, for the people to either break that mindset, to adjust to whatever was going on, or rebel? You constantly seen that historically it always affected what was going on. That's my point. Go ahead.
Right. Perfect example is Japan. 1945, Hiroshima, Nagasaki nuked. First nuke that ever hit the world. Cities leveled. Destruction. Children are having health problems. Major issues. Really hard to recover off of a nuke, right? Does anybody really even talk about Hiroshima and Nagasaki today? It was much more recent than slavery. Less than 100 years ago. Japan recovered.
Yo, brother, you gotta stop comparing stuff to slavery, my dude. Like, yo, black people built this goddamn country. I'm gonna keep it a beat. Like, ain't no Japanese nigga built this shit. Man, get out of here, bro.
Like, you keep acting like I'm doing non sequiturs. I'm literally answering your question directly. You said, how long does it
Yeah, we're not gonna be talking about here. We're not gonna be talking about that. All right, hold on. I'll answer that question. We're not talking about that compared to slavery because slavery is. You cannot separate that from the history of America because slaves built America. Okay? If a bunch of Japanese niggas and they kung pao ass built America, we be talking about that all the time. So you gotta stop. You gotta stop with this. Like, I don't know if you look at slavery as some shit that just kind of happened, brother. This is see.
I'm answering your question. You said, how long does it take to change history? These people were affected greatly. First nuke that hit the world, they recovered. First world nation, they don't speak about it. They don't define being Japanese based off of this nuke, based off of this trauma. They've moved on and they developed a great
How you know? So in Japanese
I know
culture,
Japan's economy is doing really well.
so you're saying in the things that they care about, that is just, well, yeah, so what, they killed so many of us and disfigured us and gave us all type of like disfiguring diseases and whatever, because of the nuclear bomb. But it's all good. We have gotten over it. That's what you're saying? That Japanese people feel?
I'm saying Japanese culture is...
So if I go to Nagasaki, you're saying that there is no traces of them. They're like, what bomb?
Of course there's... Dude, like, this is such a silly argument. Of course there's traces of it. Of course it happened. Of course it's spoken about. But Japanese culture is not defined off of this.
We don't know what the fuck their culture is.
Yes, I do. I just
No.
been there. I lived in Japan for a month.
Hold on.
I know.
Their culture, okay, you're a tourist, but still, their culture and what they care about, right, in terms of like either politics or whatever, it's not like we wouldn't give a fuck about it. It's like Germany, right? For example, Germany. Could you go to Germany and go do all that shit you was doing on the bus, or the Hail Hitler thing? Could you do that? Yes, sir.
It's illegal there.
Exactly. So exactly proves my point. When people going through some shit, they don't forget. And that's why when it comes to America, you, anybody else need to shut our bitch asses up and respect the fact that when it comes to slavery, that's one of the most sacred and most horrific things this country has ever done.
Slavery's not sacred. Slavery's
Okay,
not sacred. Again, that's why I figured out what you worship. Like, no, slavery's not holy.
No. We're not talking about sacred like we're exalting it. We're saying that it's one of the most sensitive things ever. It's probably top 2, not 2. Facts.
Okay, great. So how do we move on from this? I was talking about...
There is no moving on. Yo, as long as America exists...
I can't even... You want to have a conversation, you keep talking over me. So, like, I'm trying to get somewhere...
Get yours off, I got you.
You said black culture, the number one plight black people are facing is socioeconomic problems, right? Then you said it's because of years of history of oppression. I'm arguing that right now, what's being promoted from hip-hop and the culture, a lot of it is negative. Then you said, okay, well, there's a history, right? Just like slavery, there's a history of CIA, there could be infiltration, maybe Zionist executives took over and they're pushing specific agendas.
I never said that.
But if this is what I'm saying, and it's the same people supporting the genocide you don't care about. This is holding black people back in America. Saying this culture is what defines the black identity is a problem. Because what is promoted in hip-hop is objectively not good. The majority of these people are Satanists. They're all drug addicts. They're perked out. They brag about sleeping with each other, stealing, I F this guy's bitch, murder, 63rd. It's street culture, respect culture. I'm going to slide up. If you can't snitch or I'm going to kill you, snitches get stitches. This is promoting criminal activity and is holding black people back. And not talking about it is not fixing the problem. This needs to be spoken of. And then who is pushing these ideas? You brought it up. It's the same executives that have allegiance to the genocide or supporting the genocide that you don't care about. People like Lucien Grange, people that are in charge of Rockefeller, all these people, they're the same ones supporting that genocide and getting Americans to support that genocide. Why do you think that they push that culture within America? To subvert, to divide, to keep us hateful, to keep us distracted, to keep us focused on minuscule issues so we don't see what's really going on. So we hate the person on 64th and I'm from 63rd when really this is project housing and we rent here. We don't even own this block and we're going to die over it. This is silly and this is regressive. We need to move on.
Well, of course, if you try to do I don't even think Dr. Umar speaks like that. If you try to do some type of, just Gandhi speech.
Do you disagree? You're insulting him.
Okay. All right, so I'll get to the point. Not necessarily. I'm not going to necessarily disagree. What I would actually counter is that this is pushed throughout society in some way or another. I think the President of the United States damn near almost is promoting almost gambling, right? Gambling is ubiquitous at this point. These are things that these things aren't that positive, and I get it. You might like it's easy to pinpoint hip hop, but let's not act like there's just beacons of positivity and great things being promoted from everywhere else in the culture but hip hop, right? Of course, some of these things might exacerbate a problem that exists already. However, my thing is we got to do a double-headed approach. we should do things to kind of curb that behavior now, but also you can't just keep putting band-aids on a problem that has existed and has continued over generations, as pretty much has started from, the existence of America.
I'm not saying a band-aid.
Right?
You brought up Malcolm X, I agree, by any means necessary.
And that's what happened with Chuck. By any means necessary, we got him out of here.
And that's
Malcolm X would be proud.
You
Yo,
don't even know the guy's name who got martyred. So, like, again...
brother, stop talking about the victim. We glad that the agitator's out of here.
Yeah, sure. That's a perfect example of focusing on something stupid and minuscule.
And to keep it
not
real,
looking at what's
I
really
think
going
Chuck
on.
got off easy. We were trying to get him to go to.
Wait. We're getting somewhere, and then you go back to something.
No, we were trying to get his ass to Nashville. No, not Nashville.
You're
Memphis.
burning because this conversation is getting somewhere uncomfortable, and then you're going back to something easy and stupid. This guy was a racist and he's hateful, and it's not the major issue right now.
Okay, we got him. All right, we took him off the streets. Next, go ahead.
Okay, it's what is defined off of. It's saying it's not our fault. That prevents you from growth. By having a boogeyman and saying, okay, this is why criminal activities be promoted in hip hop. This is why there's so many single parent households. This is why people don't think that they need to get a job and why
Stiggle, we can talk about those
is
issues,
the way
just
out.
don't conflate them, right? So we can talk about the issues you're trying to bring up, just don't conflate them with some guy, and you using a stupid ass rhetoric saying, oh,
It's the
don't.
same issue.
No, it's not.
It's the same issue.
So
And
a
it's-
guy
it's
saying the
like-
N-word is connected
Yes.
to single parent families? Are you
Yeah.
stupid? Stick.
You know, if you want to know why, because the bigger issue.
You
the
think a
bigger
guy
issue-
that's calling
Yeah.
people chimps and the N-word is connected to
Yes.
the single parent epidemic?
Yes. The bigger issue is racism. That's the bigger issue. Not this one single guy and the martyr whose name you forgot. It's racism. Racism is what's wrong. That should be the number one focus if we're trying to figure out what's going on and how we can change things. If racism at the top, and this is why Chuck the Builder is bad, and we agree on that, how do we fix this problem? Where should our energy be focused on? Why are people distracted? These are the questions we need to ask.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's going to take decades and centuries of healing for...
Let's start now.
Well, it's been happening. That's what I'm telling you. I've acknowledged progress. That's why, hold on. That's everything I've said. Nothing has been anti-white. I feel like we've made significant progress since some of these riots that existed in America. We've made significant progress. And matter of fact, I was mostly proud of when he was doing all this nonsense. There was white dudes that would call him out like, bro, why are you doing this? You know why? Because that white dude knows that if I see him, he sees me. He has nothing against me. I have nothing against him. We're probably going to be friends. But he doesn't want me to have something in the back of my mind saying, hey, this guy's against me. And he shouldn't be thinking, oh, I'm scared or I'm afraid of my life. That guy was a divisive antagonist. And that's why I said, get him out the paint. But I do think we've taken significant strides. Significant strides.
Past 10 years we haven't. BLM was a scam. This money was not going in places that it should have been going to.
This has been the only...
So much.
This has been the
George
only...
Floyd was a major distraction. People rioting and burning down buildings over George Floyd was silly.
What year was that?
This was 2020. And BLM really started after Trayvon Martin 2013. It was at its height in probably 2016. So for the
Okay.
past, I would say
And-
maybe
and-
20 years.
and you've
the
seen-
movement
you've
the
seen
movement
no
to try to
healing.
bring-
You've seen no healing in the last couple of years.
not healing is a small. What we should look for is progress. There hasn't been progress.
What's progress
It's been-
looking like
it's
to you?
been- It's been regressive. It's
What's progress to
acknowledging
you?
How is defining black culture? Defining black culture is almost synonymous with the hip hop culture, and we both agreed. You even said earlier that a lot of it's negative.
But by the way, that's not
Defining-
true. That's not all of black culture is hip hop culture, but
I didn't say all.
there's a huge overlap. I'll give you that.
So if we want to make progress, we got to figure out.
By the way-
so what is it?
You also realize that you're imposing your thoughts on this guy. This guy never said nothing that you're saying. You're now arguing points he never made. This guy's not going around saying, I don't like hip hop. I don't like what it's done to how you guys are being represented in the media. This guy just went around saying you're chimping out and calling people the hard young. You're now trying to make some type of like debatable argument because the first argument you made on the last stream was so stupid. It just got like I think
it's the same argument.
no,
but you
because
didn't
he
get it.
doesn't. Because you're making an
You didn't
argument
get
for
it.
why that happened that is not even being discussed, and he's never said it. You can't even find
You didn't
tweets
get
of
my
him saying
argument
this
because
stuff.
you talked over me. My argument is that we should not focus on divisive, non-important issues like this. This is a distraction and not the major issue. People will galvanize and be like, "This is the racist." Our energy could be directed towards places where it's better needed. Why has there been no progress towards uplifting black people and empowering black people and fixing the problem, the generational problem? That's where we should be focusing our energy. Not, this guy needs to die, we need to martyr this guy. Like, why are we all fixating on this when there's much more important issues to be focused on within the black community? And that was my argument then, and it's my argument right now.
And
you didn't get it. The point is to not get distracted by this stuff.
And the answer is this, right? The answer is that, yes, there needs to be improvement. There needs to be growth. I say that I have seen some growth. It could definitely be more. I think, I'm going to say us, not including you, because we don't know what you are. You're just ambiguous. We're just going to call you
You know what I've told you a billion times.
But we have a lot of improvement to do. But here's what I'll say. An agitator, someone who's here to subvert the actual goal of being together and understanding each other and race relations, could never be the catalyst. So you're right. Things aren't perfect. But I'd be damned if the guy who came to fuck shit up even more gets the credit because now we're celebrating that he's out the way. No. He's a fuckhead that deserved to be out the way. However, if we're talking about race relations, if we're talking about black people as a whole, accountability for certain things, because obviously we're talking about communities here. There's a lot of work to be done, right? But that has nothing to do with an agitator. An agitator is not a catalyst. And that's what I would say.
And my point is we shouldn't martyr ourselves over somebody who wants attention. If you want to be a martyr, martyr yourself for a bigger cause.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, and I feel like you've said this a couple times. I don't know if you're saying it because you want me to backtrack in rhetoric. I'm going to double down by saying
what my point is.
If we get these type of figures popping up, I think it's more important now than ever that we quickly get them out the way, some way, somehow. You know why? Because the noise that they bring only empowers these little hidden cells of racists who are now empowered to do some other shit. And I know you're saying, well, him getting arrested will empower them even more. You got to send a message. This is not tolerated. It's the reason why we have prisons. It's the reason why most Americans, and definitely me, I believe in the death penalty. We're not about to sit back while you try to think that the Constitution works for you and not somebody else. Oh, you think you're the only one that has gun rights? No, everybody does. We'll meet your energy. What do you think this is, like back in slavery days? No, so again, the rhetoric that I'm going to keep saying is that these guys who think that they're talking from a place of like supremacy, I'm not going to call them a white supremacist. I have a different definition that would have to classify somebody as that with. But if you're going to talk from a place of racism, we could meet you with whatever either force you think you got, level of conversation, disagreement, or even protesting, whatever you think you're doing. So if you're doing...
Well, you're a black supremacist.
I don't know if you would call me that, but if that's what you think, sure. I'm not here denying that.
It's your number one priority, and that's that you can't fight racism with racism.
Well, here's the thing. I would disagree with you saying I'm a black supremacist, and this is why I said I didn't label Chud a white supremacist, because all I know him as...
Definitely is.
Listen, I'm telling you my definition. I know him as a racist. I've never, even though his racial slurs and everything gives the argument of, oh, I think we're better than you. I've never heard him say legitimately, hey, white race is better than the black race. And I think that's the most that's the basic.
You can't be racist without favoring one. You're only a racist because you think one is superior to another. So he's a white supremacist.
Not necessarily.
You're a black supremacist.
No, not necessarily. You could be racist. Listen, someone who's homophobic doesn't mean that they think they're better than homosexuals.
It 100% does.
No,
100% does.
No, they just don't like those people. It doesn't mean they think they're better.
You don't like something that's bad, so you think that your way of life is better than the gay life. 100% you think that you're better than gay people. You think that you're going to go to heaven and they're going to go to hell.
I'm telling you that when I'm defining racism, homophobia, or if I'm defining anti-Semitism, I don't think people who would be labeled anti-Semitic feel like they're better than the Semites, I guess. I don't think so. I think that it's just a irrational
dislike. You don't label it to be a lie, but it's about what you really believe. Like, look, I'm labeled an anti-Semite. I just got...
Okay, so you think you're better than Jewish people?
I just said I was labeled. That doesn't mean I am. I don't believe racial supremacy is the root of all evil. This is what's wrong in the world. Racism is the problem. It's wrong. But you can't be a racist without thinking one is superior to another. That's why you discriminate, because one has preferential treatment over the other. Because one is.
We're definitely arguing semantics here.
We're not. We're not.
We are. We're arguing. We're arguing a definition.
No, we're not. You said you don't think somebody can be racist without being a supremacist. I disagree.
I give 3 other examples. I said that if any of these superlative terms, for example, anti-Semitic, homophobic, if you are either one of those terms, I don't think that the mentality tied to the term is I'm better than. To me, what's tied to the term is I have a irrational hate or a dislike for people who are that. So racism, I would believe you're a racist if.
Which is supremacy.
Well, I would say no, because I don't believe that supremacy usually comes with. I'll back down on that point. I'll back down on that point. No. Not because I agree. It's just that
Yeah.
I'm going to explain the same thing,
Right?
Yeah.
Because
Wait.
You know,
you're not going to get. Rather than like argue about a point that's going to just fuck this all up. I think racism and supremacy is not the same thing. Like
It is.
I know people who are racist just because they don't like black people or they don't like a particular race of people.
Which means they think they're better. If you don't like a specific race, you think you're better than that race.
No, they just think that they're different.
Supremacist
And from the people I know,
Different. No, but worse. Different is not worse.
well, if we're going by your logic, even if people don't hate each other, they're supremacists then, right? So if an Asian,
No.
all right, but you said I'm a black supremacist, so I don't hate anyone. So how am I a supremacist if I have no hate?
Because you put your priorities between
Everybody
only black people.
prioritize themselves.
Right, and